back, shop rats. Today we're back on the 26 Oakland and we're going to go for a little bit of a putt, and then we're going to do an oil change and a filter change and maybe do some lubrication, and I don't know what all we're going to do. Dad's on his way. We'll make a plan once he gets here. Let's stick around, watch the show intro, and I'll see you on the other side. I'm Mike, and this is my car shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
Seems like lately we've had a lot of packages, and no exception here. Nothing fancy here, just some stuff we ordered, but I haven't looked at it yet. Thought I would wait and open it on camera. Hopefully I ordered the right things. These are hopefully replacement oil filters for that cartridge type filter. Looks like it's right. We ordered it from, what's the name of that place? Kaiser Willys Accessories? Kaiser Willys Jeep Parts and Accessories, which is where we ordered that Fram style oil filter. And I believe this is right. So that'll be good. I ordered two because I want to be able to take one to town and find out what a good Wix filter will be to put in there. Hopefully they make one. Wix is by far my favorite brand of filter. Always has been, always will be probably, but anywho, yeah, so that's cool. We'll have a filter to throw in there then when we change oil. I gotta go see if we have enough oil left to be able to change the oil as well. I guess today is gonna be lubrication day because I dug out the old grease gun and took time to loosen up all the fittings. And we're gonna see what's required to get this working again so we can put some grease in a lot of different places in the car. This thing it's actually not terribly bad. It's empty, of course, but get this thing cleaned up and get some good grease in there so that we can work on getting things cleaned up. This is it's a unique piece in that you turn it like this, and that cup puts pressure down on the grease and then squirts it out the end. There's nothing in it right now that I can tell, or not much. Whoop, a little bit. There's a turd right there, a little grease turd. Somewhere there's an oil pan. There we go. But I don't want to use this old grease, so we're going to get this cleaned up and get it working again so that we can get some lubrication into spots on the Oakland that need it. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I used to have a parts washer. I finally got rid of it because it was a bigger pain in the butt than it was worth. But I've always found that for most things, if I just use an antifreeze jug cut off, throw some solvent in there, it'll do the job. I hear my upstairs neighbors still making noise. I haven't dispatched them yet. I need to do that. There's not much grease in there, so that's good. This cup actually feels like maybe it'll kind of sort of work. So we're going to get some engine cleaning brushes, probably solvent this out with some kerosene, which I have about 3 drops of. I never use gasoline for washing parts. We talked about that before. The flash point of gasoline, it can spontaneously combust. I use either diesel fuel or kerosene. Now, I just heard the other day that kerosene is supposed to be going away in the next 5 years, as well as all non-alcohol based fuels. So meaning all of our fuel is going to have ethanol. So that's going to be interesting for the small engine and the old car industry, because that's not a good thing. But we'll see. You know, there's all these grandiose plans. We'll see what really happens. So we're getting some more grease turds out, and just by using this engine cleaning brush. So I'm going to go put that in the pan over here, and then we'll scrub it out some more. You may ask the question, why would I leave the pan over there instead of over here? Because sure as little puppy dogs stink, I'll step in it. we go. Back through. Scrub around, scrub around. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll rinse that out. Yeah, looks good inside. Didn't rust for some reason. Very nice. So we'll get some parts cleaner. Spray that out real good. Get the rest of that grease out of there. Get our plunger cleaned up, and then we'll see about getting our nozzle cleaned up here. Guess I already had a can out. I did not know that. There's some gnarly old grease up in there we're going to need to get out. Take a screwdriver and dig that out. Look at that up in there. That's some gnarly old stuff. Remember, this grease gun has not been used since at least 1946, maybe longer. So, again, I'm not going to put that in the parts pan. I'll stick that in the oil pan. I got it. Okay, hopefully we can blow that crap out of there. I think that's pretty good. I don't want to get too carried away. Hope I didn't splatter my lens all up. This is spinning nicely now. So we've got to find some grease to put in this thing and go over to my gun cabinet. Yeah, go over to my grease cabinet and see what we got. So I've got a couple. I've got a nice blue general purpose grease, and then I've got a good premium heavy duty. And I think this is what I'm going to do is I'll a bunch of that in there and fill it up with that and see how it works. So filling it up, and of course I'm leaving the end off so that the grease can move down. Otherwise what will happen is I won't be able to get it in there because there's no room for air movement. Similar to packing a wheel bearing in some ways. Just push her down in. It'll probably have a lot of pops and farts in it because of all the air, but that'll be fine. What I'll probably do here is, well, I was thinking about using the plunger to push it all down, but I just realized if I do that and then I add more, I'll just create a big air pocket. So we'll just try to, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this works. You don't have to do it this way, but it helps. It's like packing a wheel bearing. There's no way to do it that you're not going to get slimy unless you have a special tool. And it actually would be pretty cool to put a special tool on this where there was a zerk on the side and I just took a grease gun and went and filled it up. But this works. Probably not going to get too much more carried away with it because in case there's a problem with it, then I got it full of grease and I'll have to get it all back out of there. So let's get our fingers all cleaned up here as best as we can. Okay, close enough. So I just learned something. This is threaded and the fittings are threaded, and I'll show you the one for the clutch. I just greased that. You push this down on there, you turn it, and then you can turn this because it opens up the valve here as well as the zerk on there. So you turn it and you just keep turning this and it'll squirt grease in. Of course this doesn't turn, and I did about 3 turns and I think that'll be good enough for now. There's other zerks on the car to do. We'll do that when we change the oil, but I wanted to get that clutch one done. So let's take you over there. This is down on the floor inside the car, and I just turned that on there, and then turned the knob, and then backed it out, and a bunch of grease had gone in. So pretty slick design. That's a lot more better in my opinion than the new modern Zerks that they snap on. You can see under here that we've got a bunch. There's one there, one there, one there. We got a bunch of lubing to do. I think there's one there, one there. I think there's some in the back end as well. There's some down back over there. Most of the spring. Yep, so you can grease the spring things. So we've got a lot of grease Zerks to do for sure. So we're probably going to have to fill that gun a couple times. If anybody knows if there's a different way to fill that than manually packing it, let me know. I can't imagine there is. I wondered if it would suck the grease back up, but they generally don't work like that. So I'm guessing you just got to manually pack it and go for it. So there we go. All right, so we're just going up and down the road. Get the oil warmed up before we change it. Runs a little better when all 6 plug wires are hooked up. Last time we drove it, one of them had fallen off and I didn't know it. It's running really good. It's quiet as far as the engine. Makes me nervous. That usually means it's ready to blow up. I wish the speedometer would take off. It worked once. I don't know why it's not now.
So what are we doing, 30 miles an hour?
Probably, yeah. Even if the car would go faster, the problem is the brakes are terrible. Noise right there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything to be worried about. It's part of the reason I've only done little short trips like this once in a while. Just let the lubrication splash around and soak in. Splash it around, let it soak in.
Yeah.
Everything's been sitting for 75 years, so. But I can see why Grandpa said he'd like to go down the road at 45. I think 35 is good. But sometime I'll have to put my speedometer on my phone going and see what the actual speed is.
Oh, okay.
But with the condition of this engine, I don't want to rev it much more than this. So.
Yeah.
reaching for the blinker. Still solid 30 pounds. So it's probably a little high. We're going to need to turn that down.
Idling, was that just discharging a little?
No, the charging is this direction.
Oh, wow.
So it's backwards. The charging is to the left and the discharge is to the right. And it says that right on the gauge, I think, if I remember right. So
Okay.
I thought it was something wrong with it. And then no, when you rev it up, it goes this way further and further. So.
Yeah, most of them are the other way, right?
Right, yeah.
Right, they're to the right.
Correct. Yes. Who's on first? Okay, so we got the oil filter out. The oil is drained out. Dad's just wiping out the canister. Technically, we should probably take the line off the bottom and drain it out and all that, but quite frankly, I don't want to mess with opening and closing those lines all the time, so I sucked out the oil with a suction gun, and we're just wiping it out. We'll blow a little brake clean on a rag and wipe it out, and as long as there's no dirt and debris in the bottom, that'll be fine. So that's good. And I did look at the filters and they appear to be the right ones, so we're good there. Somebody want to go back on the old video and put the oil in this and remind me how many quarts it takes? I think it's 6, but the oil was good. I was surprised. It was pretty clean and looked good.
Take a look down in there.
Yeah, we'll do that. You can see we're just dripping the last little bits out of the pan there right now, so yeah, very good. All right, Dad's gonna go ahead and put the filter in.
It's got a handy dandy handle on
Yep,
it.
that's how you get the old one out.
Okay.
You probably changed a few of these in your day.
Oh yeah. Most of them are screw-on though.
I'm just thinking some of the old vehicles you had would have had to have had this type of filter in the 50s. Oh, forgot to put the oil in.
Oh, yeah.
I want to put some oil in it first.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It doesn't matter with the oil pump prime, but I still prefer to dump some oil in the canister.
Makes sense.
And here are coons up there growling. Dumb things. Probably have to dump it fairly slow.
Yeah.
Hear that?
Yeah.
Dumb things.
Sound like they're purring.
They are. They need to go away with dispatch and abandon. Yeah, be careful now. I think you're getting close. We got about half a quart in. Yeah, I put about a half in on this, call it good. That's probably good, yeah. Close enough. Don't want to get too much in there, and then we push the lid down, it could possibly goosh out, so probably not, but even on a regular standard oil system with the regular filter, I tend to try to fill them before I put them on.
Screws in nice and easily. Must be lubricated.
Yep. Okay, so we'll just got wrenches right there. We'll tighten her down and be good to go. You want to hold that filter with your hand, otherwise, yeah.
Don't want that too snug either, right?
No.
Maybe
Should be
you
fine.
want to check it. See
Okay,
what you
yep.
think.
Wiping out our built-in funnel. Oops, don't pour the oil in yet. Some dipstick forgot to put the plug in the bottom.
Do you usually let them drain a little bit before you...
Not a ton, but a little bit. I know a guy years ago, a farmer, that used to put all of his empty oil bottles upside down when he was done with his oil changes, and he would gain like an extra quart of oil in a year or something. I thought, I'm not. Oh, sorry, I'm not that cheap. I guess I could mention his name. He's passed away now, but you know who I'm talking about because I worked for him. So
Okay.
I worked on the hog farm.
Oh.
Oil pressure. Just 7 pounds? Wow, that's slow coming up. 30? So our oil pressure is back to its normally unusually high, but that's fine. Rev it up just a little bit.
Responds nicely.
What's that?
Responds nicely.
Yeah, I think the timing and the fuel are set pretty good now.
Yeah.
Dad's just cleaning up the zerks a little bit, and there's, what do I see? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's one there. There's about 6 of them in there at least.
There's not one there.
I think so.
Oh, it's enough.
Dirty, eh?
Yep, yes, it is one.
We didn't do a very good job of maintaining this the last 75 years. Is that brush working okay, or do you want me to find you a different one? I think I got a bigger one.
Yeah, that might be a good option.
Actually, why don't we get the one that's on the drill motor? That would probably be the best. Much better.
I feel it's mostly important that the ends be clean.
Yes. The other is just the thread for the thing to screw against. So.
Really?
Right, yeah, they're only like a half a turn in, so.
There's no resistance here.
That means it's taking a lot of grease.
Okay. There starts there, so it's half.
There we go. Oh yeah, you can see the grease coming out right there, see?
Oh, okay. Quit.
Yep. Good. I'm watching what you're doing and I'm not paying attention to the camera.
Half. One.
You see the grease coming out?
Okay.
Yep.
So quit.
Yep. You know, it doesn't hurt to push some of that old grease out, obviously, but
Right.
you should see grease start to come out on the top of that one.
1.5, 2. Keep going.
Yep, go ahead a little more. I can see it starting to push.
There we go. Okay.
Very good.
All right.
So we were just commenting that there was 7 on the driver's side because of the brake rod, 6 on this side on the front, and then there's on the back of each leaf spring there's 2 because of the leaf spring pivot. The front there's only 1, so we've got 4 more to do on the front, and then there's going to be probably 6 more on the back, I'm guessing. Maybe something on a brake rod also.
Quite so hopeful about that bottom one. I don't know.
Trying to think through all the things we can share, with these little details of maintenance and so forth that an Oakland owner might not know and want to know. So just number of Zerk locations and that kind of stuff can be helpful. I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed with that design. I don't think a modern car with the modern grease Zerks would be accepting grease nearly as easily as these are.
That screw-on feature is nice.
Oh yeah,
Instead of having the
it turns in, it holds pressure, and then it pushes the little ball and the spring ball in. We only had one that wouldn't take grease, and it wasn't because of the Zerk. I think it was because the bearing was already full.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Some of the newer ones have like a pistol grip, don't they?
yeah, I've got both of the pump
Yeah.
and the grip.
But you still got to push.
Exactly. The thread-on feature, because you're not fighting yourself.
Right.
Your pressure to put the grease in with the twist is the same pressures that helps hold the whole thing on there. So to me, it's pretty cool.
Okay. So let's do the other side.
Yep.
Then we'll have the front done.
So we missed 2 more. There's the tie rods. Dad just discovered the one on this side, and because of the way the wheel was turned on that side, we couldn't see it. So there's 1 more to do on the passenger side, and then these 3 here. So 2 on the spring, 1 on the tie rod. Okay, so we have 6 or 7 on the back here. We're not sure yet, but there's the ones that he's doing right there for the leaf springs, and then there's 1 on the front of the leaf springs, and there may be a brake one on this side we've got to dig into. The front end's all done. We checked the steering. There's no play in any of the tie rod ends. The play that's in the steering wheel, which I'll show you. This play here is 100% in the steering box. So, yeah, it's going to need some attention at some point, but it's not mission critical. So there's nothing unsafe about the car anyway. Well, after Dad finished up lubricating all the Zerks in the back of the car, we found we had one broken off, so we're going to have to see if we can find one. We took a trip to town, picked up another case of the oil, and I wanted to just clarify that we we do burn it, but we use non-detergent, straight 30 weight oil because of those poured Babbitt bearings in there. And plus, with an engine that old, we don't want any detergent oil stirring up any dirt that might be in there. Leave that alone, it'll be fine. When we drained the oil out, it felt good and clean, very thin, but it's a straight 30 weight oil, so that's no surprise. So we made some determinations on what's next. Well, first of all, we got back, topped the oil off, and took it up and down the road a couple of times. So we put a total of about 3 miles on it so far today. Becky and I are probably going to take a little putt later on as well. So 4 or 5 miles today, which is the most miles we've put on it in one day. And so that makes the total now probably 7 miles. So we're starting to get down to, under $500 a mile on what we have into this car minus the labor so far. So that's good. So the next thing is brakes. I had Dad drive it the last half mile back, and it was a little exciting when he pushed the brake pedal and it kept going to the floor and wasn't stopping. And yeah, it's exciting. So what we want to do is get that brake pedal up a lot higher so that when you press it down and it doesn't stop, at least the pedal feels higher. Because that's kind of the nature of this beast. So we got to make sure that all the mechanical levers and so forth are all working properly. But mainly, I think they just need to be adjusted. We checked all the linings; they look good. So, but the car did great. It didn't overheat, and so that's another step forward. So that's our goal, is to just continue to expand the miles we're putting on the car. And part of my rationale, if I haven't shared this before, is get the lubricant splashing around, let it sit, let those soak into everything, and then, you know, run it again a few days, a week later, a little bit longer, get everything splashing around, and let those lubricants drain back down and splash into everything. And I can hear things are sounding better the more we drive it. So that's really good news. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. There'll be more coming on the Oakland. Next time we'll probably be doing some brake adjustment work. We also discovered some electrical work that needs to be done under the car. There's one wire that's looking pretty dodgy, and I wrote down a list of other things over there as well we need to take care of. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We're on the Face thing. We're on Instagram /MyCarShop. You're here on the You thing. So if you've watched this far, you might as well subscribe. You'd be doing everybody a favor if you did. Hit the bell so you receive those notifications. And one more thing. Don't forget, it's important.
Rock.